What's going on, guys? It's Freedo here for Your Overwatch. Has this ever happened to you? I'm sure it has. I've seen it happen to the enemy team and to my team, either when I'm playing ORISA or I'm playing against an ORISA, where it looks like one team has a man advantage. And a classic matchmaking misconception is to oversimplify the game to assume we have a man advantage, let's W mouse one and win this fight for free. Well, as it turns out, it's not that simple. Sometimes the enemy is going to have superior positioning or the right characters, where simple man advantage alone doesn't necessarily counter them, or in other terms, satisfy the win condition to counter what you're up against. What do I mean? Well, as I'm running for my life here as ORISA, the enemy is trying their best to throw all their firepower at me, but I'm doing a good job at peeling back, making sure I can get to my healers, and putting my nearly unimpenetrable bunker out in front to absorb damage and create point presence yet again. My teammates' respawns come back, and the enemy is left wondering, how did we not win that fight? We were a man up, I thought we were pushing the objective, things looked peachy, and it just didn't work out. And it's actually going to happen again on the final fight. As the ORISA player, I don't want the Reinhardt to bash my head in, so I keep backing up. In fact, I kind of missed the opportunity to block his Earth Shatter with my shield. Unfortunately, that gets my teammates killed, but really, my teammates are making the mistake here. They should be trying to play behind me. When I start to back up, they need to mirror that, and that gets them caught out overextended, when in reality, the ORISA bunker comp wants to keep slowly stepping back to sustain your lives, to keep pressing a ranged advantage. But even still, they get the huge slam, get Roadhog and McCree out of the picture, but I place my bunker back down, and I have healers with me and a Junkrat out in the distance flanking, and this bunker never dies. It stays around so long that the enemy's attack starts to dwindle, and my reinforcements come soaring back. They muddled around with this bunker for so long, not really understanding what they're supposed to do, that the opening and kills that they had in order to punish me got closed immediately because they took the fight head first. And I think this is an extreme disrespect of understanding how powerful the character ORISA is and where her weaknesses lie. Now, of course, the clip I showed then, the enemy were kind of pressed into overtime. They were a little forced to play onto the cart, so you can't always utilize what I'm going to teach you here, but there's two ways to deal with ORISA. There's poking down the barrier and then engaging, or there's rushing her down with a Reinhardt comp, typically with a Zarya, but different variations can work. But I think both of these need to be explained because I don't see them utilized properly often enough. Now, in this game, I was very lucky to have a very communicative team. We see the ORISA, and they listen to me that I want to break the barrier before we go in. And it doesn't just count to break one barrier, guys. You have to break both. Remember, ORISA has two barriers on deck, then she has a window for you to exploit. When she places a new barrier down, there's an 8-second cooldown. So you have a couple seconds to break that fresh barrier for her to have no barrier at all and to be standing there as a horse that just takes damage. And that's the window you want to create. And the rest of your team has to be quite patient while your ranged characters whittle down that barrier to create that opening. As you can see, I get little crafty positions in order to see the shield or break the shield out of harm's way. That's what you want to go for. Whittle the shield down, force her to drop a new one, focus it again, then you go. The team should know not to go in before that opening is created. You only get a few seconds anyway, but once ORISA's forced to be put on the back foot and the enemy has a few seconds where they don't have a barrier, then your life is a lot easier because you can go in with your Reinhardt who can swing, prop up his barrier real quick, go in and out, and close in, and then get in close range of the ORISA comp. ORISA does not want to fight in close quarters at all. She needs to keep her opponents at quite a distance in order for her to be effective, so creating this type of opening in order to pounce is exactly what you want to do. Same map now from the Reinhardt's perspective. I don't really want to lose my shield here. I need my ranged characters to take the time to safely poke down the shield, and I'm trying to peek for information so that we can keep funneling the enemy into the back. And then once we have them pressed further and further into a corner, that's where the ORISA comp really feels helpless. But you have to have the patience to poke it down, find the opening, then go, so you safely traverse the minefields that is these really defensive bunker comps. Show you another example of an enemy team comp that could have countered me, but actually played their strat entirely wrong. I'm actually in a very sticky situation as we have 6 minutes in order to hold a single tick. Well, I mean, this is RIP, right? The enemy's just going to get a free tick on this point. Well, not exactly, because I don't think they actually know what the goal of quad tank is. I assume someone made the shot call to just rush to get onto points, but we don't let that happen. happen. Hanamura has this wide open space that you have to rush past before you even get onto the point, and as long as me and my team get all of our fragging done before they get there, they had to adjust, they had to adapt. And spoiler alert, they don't for 6 whole minutes. I'm guessing they don't know that the Orisa Diva comp is actually terrified for all of these tanks to just W-mouse 1 towards me. That's why I'm staying at quite a distance, putting my barrier there to absorb some of their damage, throwing in my halts in order to crowd control them, peeling back when they start to aggress. But because their Reinhardt doesn't commit to come punch my face in, well, we can just sort of divide and conquer the entire time. And teamfight after teamfight, their tank play, specifically I would say their Reinhardt play, is so ill-advised that they're just getting shredded before they get to the point that they're trying to go brawl on. Orisa's not that scary, guys. I know she's a horse, but you could come better. I would say the 2 things that they could try to do is make sure that their Diva player eats my halt so I can't CC the quad tank, or as well, the Reinhardt player really needs to get the team in close range against the Orisa comp, because once you get past the barrier and flank it, you can kind of create the situation that I was describing earlier when I said you want to poke it down from range. You don't necessarily have to do that. In fact, you can just sidestep it. Once she puts a new barrier down, if you have the type of comp that can speed boost past it in order to overwhelm the Orisa, well, she's stuck committed to that angle and your team can reposition freely. I do think Reinhardt is the best answer in order to do this, because at any point he can reposition his shield, and I don't think the dive tanks are particularly good against Orisa, as she's quite capable of burning them down herself. But also CCing a Winston with halt is incredibly deadly, so I highly advise you do not dive Orisa with Winston. Ryan is a much better pick, but it takes the coordination to quickly aggress onto her with the speed boost and then get your team past the barrier once she sets a new one. And if you don't do that, well, you can find yourself look pretty clueless against the bunker comp and kind of haphazardly throw bodies into the fray to no avail. Well, guys, that's how that strategy works. This is why I would say Reinhardt is seeing a big resurgence in the meta right now, because of how effective he is against other Reinhardt comps. Of course, he counters himself, but he also is able to press forward an advantage onto an Orisa comp if you know how to play it right. And realistically, even though there might not be parity amongst all of the tanks, in terms of pick rate, there is a pretty strong meta triangle that's being created where the bunker comp is going to decimate dive, but is being susceptible to being rushed down with Reinhardt comps. And then again, in open space, Reinhardt comps get outflanked by dive comps. The metagame of Overwatch is in the most wide open place it's ever been, and that makes me incredibly happy. And I might come to regret making this video, because these Orisa strats have definitely won me many games, so now you guys know how to counter it when I'm trying to pull it off in ranked matchmaking. But I hope this can ease some of the frustration that comes when trying to figure out how to break these bunker strongholds that you come up against quite often. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave it a like. It really does help us out and lets us know that you're enjoying the content. If you haven't already, please subscribe, because we upload each and every day, and we also been streaming a ton, so check that out. Our Twitch link is in the description, and we always tweet out when we go live. That's been it for me. I've been FREEDO for Your Overwatch. I'll see you guys next time.